Welcome to High Strangeness in Alaska, the Bigfoot Studies. This is the 9th weekly episode I've done in a row. I'm putting out a Bigfoot High Strangeness video every Sunday, and it's been great. Thanks for all the encouragement. Looking forward to doing more work with Rob Roy Menzies, Beans Baxter, some of the other guys out there. So it's been a lot of fun, but I wanted to talk about a popular video that I've done in the past, and I've kind of changed my tune, and that is Bigfoot versus grizzly bear. Now, when I pit the two versus each other, I want to do the biggest bear I can that's found in Alaska, which is the Kodiak brown bear. I'm always going to pick the Kodiak brown. What was that? It's like monkeys throwing stuff at me down around here now. I don't know, I'm just kidding. But anyways, I'm always going to pick the Kodiak brown bear because it's massive. It's the biggest bear we have here. And when we talk about Bigfoot, I'm going to pick the largest sighting that we have, which is usually a 10, 11 foot Bigfoot. So the Kodiak brown bear stands at, a big one will stand at 10 feet tall and, you know, weigh 1,500 pounds, 13 to 1,500 pounds, even bigger. The biggest Bigfoot that we've spotted usually is 10, 11 feet tall and is going to weigh of excess of 500 to 600 on up pounds. So it's a big animal, and that's what we're looking at. We're versing those two together. I think the last time, I want to say, I bet on the Kodiak brown bear, but I don't know if I'm going in that direction this time. I've kind of interviewed some more people and talked to them about who would win. I've had a little more information. So we are going to check in with Rob Roy Menzies later on, but just when you pit two big beasts like this, first of all, I do agree with Rob. They're not going to want to come together. They're going to avoid each other. But when you've got a brown bear, you've got a bite force in excess of 1,300, 1,400 PSI. A silverback gorilla is going to get, you know, not that much, but I think a Bigfoot is going to get, their PSI is going to be like maybe 1,000, 900, 1,000 PSI. So you've got more bite force with the bear, obviously, but you've got more tactile, you know, arm strength from a Bigfoot. A Bigfoot is going to have opposable thumbs. Gorillas have, you know, many times over the strength of a human being, and they can rip you know, the arms and appendages off of a man. So you are going to have even more strength from a Bigfoot, you know, coming from that. It's interesting because they do live in the same area. They share the same habitat, forests, mountains, like where I'm at right now here in Alaska. They're going to share that together. So it is conceivable that they've come together, and we do have some stories of them coming together as well. So it's a tough one. I gotta say, I'm leaning towards the Bigfoot. One of the reasons why I say that is because we have stories of the Bigfoot, several stories of Bigfoot just cracking the neck of even a brown bear and dragging it off, you know, throwing it on its shoulder in the case of a black bear. But when you talk about the southern Kenai Peninsula, across the bay from Kachemak Bay and then around, where all the really aggressive Bigfoot have been spotted, there's no brown bear from the head of the bay on to that side. There's only black bear. So it's like they've already, you know, why is that? And that's the hot spot for Bigfoot. So it's like they've already scared off the brown bear. In my mind, that's one way I look at it. You know, why else would there be no brown bear? It's rife with food. There's salmon everywhere. There's berries everywhere. It would make sense. It would be a good spot for a brown bear to be, but they stay on the other side, which is weird. I think the Bigfoot scared them off. So let's check in with Rob Roy Menzies and say what he thinks. So this one is really interesting to me because I've heard a couple stories myself, but obviously in Alaska we have a lot of bears. We have grizzly bears, brown bears, black bears. So you would think if there are Sasquatch out in the woods, in the mountains, that they're going to share this habitat with the bears. Have you heard any interesting stories about Bigfoot around bears, fighting bears, living with bears?
In Alaska, no. Although I recently found out that natives on Kodiak Island have a name for Sasquatch. Now, I'm kind of on the fence. And those who don't know Kodiak Island, it's an island in Alaska, and it has some of the largest brown bears in the world.
Yeah.
And they are happy. They are eating salmon. They are fat. They're huge. They're everywhere. And, I guess in us Alaskans, occasionally the subject comes up. And, I've always shunned that because of that situation. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to live on an island full of big brown bears? But just recently, a native of Kodiak, Russian Orthodox, she came in and she told me the elders on Kodiak say that Bigfoot's there. Wow. And I have to get up and look because I got one. Ohulak. I wrote it down.
Okay.
She said the elders call it Ohulak.
Wow.
And I don't know how the spelling, I don't know what, but Ohulak. I made her repeat it to me. I wrote it down.
Right.
But she said that's what they call Bigfoot on Kodiak Island. And that kind of blew, I said, really? Bigfoot with all the bears? And she's like, yeah, they say they're there.
Big bears, too. Those are, that's a separate breed of brown bear on Kodiak.
They're huge. And maybe because there's so much fish, maybe they're not so inclined to fight, or I don't know. Again, speculation. I would think if I was a Bigfoot, I wouldn't want to deal with it.
Right.
I mean, even if I could kick all their butts, I just, why would you? Wouldn't want to wake up to have to fight every day, But
So you've heard tons of Bigfoot stories in the shop here. In your opinion, Kodiak brown bear, like one of the biggest ones, versus like one of the biggest Bigfoot you've ever heard of, which do you think would win in a fight?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
If you had to pick a winner.
Okay, so I painted the mural on my building. That thing is 10 foot 8 inches tall, and it's huge. I look at that thing, and I don't know what on earth would ever try to even fight that thing.
Right.
Let alone now, if I painted an 11 foot tall brown bear, but you'd have to stand up. The bears aren't that tall. They're big. They're like a bus.
Yeah.
Kind of like a bus.
They are.
I don't know. How big is the Bigfoot? How big is the bear? The biggest of both? I don't know. Maybe the Bigfoot would kick its butt because it would have advantages with its arms, or maybe it would throw something. Maybe it knows already how to hit it just right with a log. I don't know.
Right.
But then again, a big brown bear really ticked off.
Yeah.
They were talking the adrenaline peaked, and man, I don't know. Those things, they don't stop. And I've heard many, you probably have too, people emptying guns into them.
Yeah.
And when they're charging and they don't stop.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I got to give you an answer, don't I?
If you had to pick one, Bigfoot or bear?
I guess because I'm from Alaska, I'd have to root for the bear.
Yeah.
We got to go for the big brown bear.
They got claws.
But I've heard this story. I've heard just not many. I've heard a couple stories, not from Alaska, on podcasts. I've heard of brown bears getting their necks broken.
That's what I've heard too.
A Bigfoot ran into one recently. I won't get into details but the Bigfoot ran a bear down and snapped its neck, threw it over its shoulder like a sack of potatoes, and walked away.
I heard that story too. A couple of them.
Yeah, and I'm like, huh? Okay, well, that's a little black bear though.
Right.
A large brown bear would be a totally different situation.
Right.
I would almost think they would just kind of leave each other alone.
Yeah.
Myself.
Makes sense.
But I don't know. I suppose if a Bigfoot, if he was monstrous as like the mural on my wall, I could see something like that shredding a bear. But
Yeah.
I guess that's my answer.
I gotcha. I agree.
All right, so Rob votes for the bear. You know, we are in Alaska, and I don't blame him for that. Of course, the bear is going to have giant claws, which are like big old, you know, in some cases, you know, 7-inch razors on the end of its hands. It's going to just be able to gouge the Bigfoot with. The Bigfoot, on the other hand, does not have those, but he's got, you know, opposable appendages. He's going to be able to rip and tear. He's not going to be able to bite as hard as the brown bear, but he's going to be able to use tools like giant clubs and rocks. Just because I've heard these stories, and I even talked to an old guy in Prince of Wales Island. I interviewed him, and he said there was an eyewitness down there that saw a big old giant Bigfoot come up to a brown bear and just break its neck and drag it off. So because of stories like that, and because of stories of, you know, the reports we have of, you know, even Fish and Game have said there's no brown bear on that side of Ketchikan Bay. It's mostly black bear. I'm going to vote Bigfoot. I just think a big old mean 11-foot tall Bigfoot could take out a brown bear. Now, is it going to get bloodied in the fight? Is it going to get gouged? Could it die later? Probably. Yeah, because a brown bear is nothing to mess with. The Bigfoot could get hurt, but I am going to say if they did fight, the Bigfoot would win. Let me know what you guys think. It is a contentious subject. People go back and forth, and I'm actually getting excited because this month, at the end of the month, I'm actually going to do some investigations with some buddies. So please keep tuning in, and I'm going to keep pumping out these videos every Sunday. Thanks, guys. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.